How we doing? Good. Hopefully we didn't put in a good 8 hours before we got here and everybody's all tired, but if we did, more power to you. I'm Chef Gregory here, calling a certified executive chef for about 15, 20 years with the ACF. I've been in the business about 30 since I was knee-high to an ant, doing conventional pizzas, all that wonderful stuff. We're doing some knife skills. I'm going to show you those skills we're going to build on. We're going to use about two or three of the cuts that I showed you, mainly julienne, because we're going to be making some spring rolls with some nakchan, dipping sauce with a citrus fennel salad. You sectioning citrus, julienne are slicing onions as well as fennel, and showing you a couple cuts on the carrot, as well as a nice little julienne of leafy greens. As you have questions, please call them out if need be. If you have a culinary background, fantastic. If you don't, fantastic. So yes, please. I'm going to go over some knives first and foremost. This is the classic or the traditional chef knife. When you're looking for a knife, a lot of people, oh, this particular knife, oh, that particular knife. I make my own knives. I just buy stamp knives, whatever the case is. It's whatever you wish and whatever you like and whatever works for you. Okay. We get students in here who bring in those $300 knives and we're looking at them going, why? You know, learn the skills first. You know, I have the first knife my chef ever gave me, and it was a tacky old little stamped knife like this. So these are my work knives. This particular brand is Wusthof or Henkel. You know, one side of the manufacturing plant's Wusthof, the other side is Henkel. They're roughly the same knife. So yeah, it's just a matter of how much high carbon is inside of it. High carbon keep the blade, but rusts. Stainless steel keeps it from rusting, but does not keep a blade. So however they mix those two particular metals along with whatever oxidizers they use, gives you your knife. What you're looking for, the parts of your knife, your handle, of course. You have your heel, which is the bottom part where the blade is. There is not much of a blade to it, but it can cut with and can go through bone. We have the back of our knife. We have the bolster where the handle meets the blade itself. Hopefully it is one piece and not two. I've seen those. We have the tip of our knife, the blade of the knife, and then the tang. The tang should be the entire knife itself. And you can see in this particular case that the tang and the handle, and the knife all one. Nice rivets, nice and basic and beautiful. Okay. So with your knife, this particular knives that you guys have here are stamp knives. They are just stamped out cookie cutters. They're sometimes laser treated or sharpened up, heated plastic, and your tang is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches long. You should not be putting enough pressure to break this knife or the tang out of the plastic. And if you are, find another career. Please. Okay. Different other types of knives that we'll be using. A paring knife. If you have a paring knife on your end, I would like you to use the paring knife as opposed to a chef knife. You'll be doing the sectioning of the citrus for our citrus salad. I only need like 2 people julienne and carrots, 2 people on peppers, 2 people on cucumbers, the fennel itself. Whoever, we have the chef knives over here for the fennel, and just do it in stages. Then our next stage after that, once we get our mise en place, everything in its place, then we'll be making our spring rolls, our nakchan, and then making a little vinaigrette and composing the salad that way. All right, any questions so far? Fantastic. Chef, what are these? These are boning knives. If I'm doing meat or fish or chicken or what have you, and depending upon my use or what kind of meat protein I wish to debone or to fillet or what have you, depends upon the knife I will use. If I'm using meat, turkey, big poultry or big joint meats, I will be using this particular boning knife. It does not bend. It has a very sturdy ridge back. I can do a psycho grip and go into the joint itself and take the big hunks of meat off of it, leaning into the quarter, leaning into the primal, and then get those cuts that way. If I want to do more finesse, I will use a boning knife that looks like this. It has a wonderful amount of flexion. Don't you worry, I got it. Yeah, the cod piece protects too, so you know. Anyway, that's what you're looking for. It's got a significant amount of high carbon steel and some tungsten in it to keep it nice and bent and straight and won't break. I've even seen some of these that'll bend almost in a U. but this helps me stay along those flounder bones, along those fish bones, get every piece of meat, all of the thigh bones, etc., and get everything off of there, okay? So there are uses for different types of knives that we have. We have serrated. We will not be using serrated on our steels. It has a scalloped edge. When they come to us, cut, sharpened, they're usually done on a laser. There are thinner steels and stones that you can literally sharpen these up. If you're doing this to your serrated blade, let's buy a new blade. It's not that rough, all right? They come to us very sharp. They tear. They do a lot of the tearing. So you'll see lemons, citrus, if I'm making slices, slicing tomatoes, making slices in cucumbers, they mainly slice, if you couldn't tell, breads, things along those lines, okay? The offset is really nice, especially in sandwich making, especially in making those concise slices. But if like you're doing cakes or something along those lines, that will work as well. Do not confuse this with this. This is a meat slicer, one flat blade, razor sharp. These are air channels, which prevents the meat from sticking to the blade itself. So it falls away from the blade, okay, as I'm using it. This helps get me those deli cuts of pastrami's, of cooked roast beef, of steaks, of whatever, okay? So we would use a meat slicer in this particular case. So these are the types of knives that we usually see in our kitchens. Also, the most deadly of them all is the peeler. And if you don't believe me, I got some people that'll tell you some stories. Double-bladed, I'll show you some uses on the peeler itself. But we have, when we use our knife, just got done with the other session, cleaned off my knife, and now I'm going to steel my knife. You guys know the difference between a steel and a stone? Yes? Well, only you can hear the rattle. No? Okay, so a steel is honing, much like the razor of a barber strop takes that piece of leather and slaps it across. It's not just for show. It's to make sure that that nice sharp blade is nice and straight. So if I were to able to microscopically look down the blade itself, okay, I would see the nice sharp blade. As I use that blade, it kind of goes off kilter a bit, but the blade's still there. It's just off kilter. And that's what honing does. Honing brings that right back in line. Okay. Now, if I'm taking my knife and I'm hacking down trees, killing people on the side, whatever the case is, I'm going to dull this blade. Okay. That blade is going to dull. And that's what a stone does. It grinds off all of those so I can bring that. Okay. Problem. When you stone or sharpen your blade, you're more often than not, 99% of the time, left with a tiny, tiny burr. Those burrs, that's why we use lasers for the most part to sharpen, or very highly technical mechanical sharpening stones and wheels, because those burrs are very finite, very minute in that level. When you get your knives in, they are nice and sharp. That's what, yeah, I love those handmade knives. I have one that I've paid $200, $300 for, but I have to put a stone to it a lot because it doesn't have that edge, almost a perpetual edge. Okay, so you want to minimize the amount of burr that's on there. So to use your steel, I'm going to show you coming to me. If you're not comfortable with that, you can turn the steel upside down and use it that way. All right, I showed this to the last class. A whopping 1 out of 20 people actually steeled their knives before using. I have steels here. You're more than welcome to use them. All right, so we're going to pinch grip our knife. When we hold the knife, we're going to pinch grip around the bolster. We're going to wrap our fingers around and hold it. That gives me absolute control of this knife. It does not leave my hand. Please do not put your finger up. Notice, I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm excited with adrenaline, that kind of stuff, because I'm talking to you wonderful people. All right, I get that. But it is not stable. Oh, I'm better than that. No, you're not. In a kitchen, you barely get this much space. You're constantly being bumped. People are running around, yelling, screaming, hot, humid environment, could be slippy. Whatever the case is, total control. Pinch, wrap, right? You want it resting right along that piece of your index finger, okay? That way you have full control of that knife. We're going to pinch grip our knife. We're going to hold our steel. We're going to run our steel along our finger. That way we have that 20-degree angle. I'm going to start at the tip of the steel, at the base of my knife. I'm going to come down, and by the time I get to the bottom of my steel, I want to be at the tip of the knife. So I'm moving my wrist like this as I'm coming down slowly, just like that, back and forth. On the other side, I'm running it along my thumb, so I have that angle, and I'm just coming along that way a couple times on each side, and we're ready to go. You see those hibachi places and those ginsu whatevers, and the microphone guy just, that's all for show. Please don't do that, okay? Most chefs are comfortable enough. We have a guard down here, so it doesn't really hurt us. We are comfortable enough to do it at a steady pace. If you're not that comfortable, turn it upside down. Pretend you're shaving. It's not that hard, okay? So this is a diamond steel. Does the same job. It just uses industrial diamond dust. It gives you a little bit of hone, right? Our steels are magnetic, meaning I just cleaned it off the last one. That little bit that I did, okay? So that's all the little burr, that's all the little edge, that's all. So that's what we're looking for, okay? That's what we want. So the magnetic steel will hold on to that little bit of dust, and my blade is nice and honed, ready to go. Any questions so far? No? All right. Let's get to the most dangerous tool in the kitchen. Peelers. This is a bow peeler, okay? We have other types of peelers, and we have stick peelers as well. If you have the carrots, we're going to have to peel the carrots. If you've peeled carrots, potatoes you can hold in your hand and use peeler comfortably, like so. Most people, especially when they get carrots or parsnips or something along those lines, and they do it like grandma. 1 second, please. Okay, they usually do that, right? Don't do that. It's got blades on both sides. Go back and forth. All right, and all I'm doing is holding it underneath about half the carrot, and I'm just turning it with my fingers. Okay, so you go back, turn, and that's all you're going to do. If I see one of my cooks doing this, I'm going to yell at them. Okay? Chefs don't yell. Sure, we don't. Okay? So that's what we want to do with our carrots. Nope, that's a bow peeler as well. It just has a pull stroke as opposed to a back and forth. Okay? With those, you can do that. It's a little awkward, though, to pull and then push. And sometimes most people push too hard and dig. So just be careful with it. Now, I say it's most dangerous because it doesn't know the difference between a carrot and a hand. So please be careful with it. All right. It generally won't, but it can, especially brand new. And it does wonderful for salads, for ribbons, okay, for peels, for all sorts of wonderful things. I generally like to do this when I'm peeling. If I'm not doing this, I try not to do things over a trash can. Ew. The other thing is most people, oh, save this for stock. This is a micrometer away from dirt. I'm not, no, I'm not saving that for stock. Okay. In stock, yeah. Crap in, crap out. So, if everybody can see, great. If not, come on closer if you wish. Again, I'm going to pinch grip my knife. I'm going to put my carrot down. Tip of the knife is down, and then I'm going to finish my cut. I'm just going to cut off the end here, and I'm going to do the same here. When I'm holding my carrot, when I'm using my knife, I want to do what most people call a bear claw. I'm not going to use the whole carrot at one time. I'm going to cut it into roughly hand-sized pieces, okay? 3 to 5 inches in length. In our business, we have our julienne, our bâtonnet, and our French fry cut, which is our stick cuts, our julienne, our bâtonnet, and our French fry. And those usually measure about 3 inches, okay? So for my bigger cuts, I want to take from the bigger end. For my smaller cuts, I want to take from the smaller end. Nice and roly-poly. I'm going to very carefully bear claw my carrot, give a nice little, I'm running the knife right along my knuckles, tip down, finishing the cut. And I'm watching as I cut, okay? I'm not just going to put the tip down and just cut it off, okay? I need to watch my knife as I go down so that I keep it nice and even. As you get more practiced in it, as you get used to using it, and this I will use for stock, okay? But as I get more practice in it, as I get used to it, then I can do a little bit, get a little faster, and do what needs to be done. I'm going to square off this edge here, 1/8 of an inch, 2 dimes, the thickness of 2 dimes stacked, okay? What, barely 3 millimeters, that's, or 2 millimeters. So if I'm saying that's 1/8 of an inch, that's 1/8 of an inch. You can go a 1/16 if you wish, and you can stack once you've made those. I don't generally like to stack when I'm making, even regardless if I'm making 20 pounds of julienne carrots or what have you, because as I stack 1 or 2, things tend to move around, okay? So piece at a time and just do it quick. And I'm just going to make my sticks, tip down, finishing the cut. Some chefs will just take this piece and they'll just go, you know, there's your julienne, done. Since when's a triangle a rectangle? But anyway, I digress. So we have our julienne here. Notice when I'm cleaning my knife, I do not wrap my fingers around and pull. I push everything off of my knife, please. You only got 10 of them, or actually 8 and 2 thumbs, but we're not going to get into that. All right. I'm going to turn the julienne. I'm going to then make 1/8 inch cuts across those 1/8 inch sticks, and I will have my brunoise. Some people say brunoise. I don't know if you heard me pronounce that S on the end, but yes, it's brunoise.
Yes.
But anybody who's taken French, but you know, the E on the end of the word means you pronounce the consonant. So, and you finish the word. If it was brunoise, there wouldn't be an E, right? You know, yeah, I don't. Oh, believe me, Jean-Claude would get on top of me on that one. That's brunoise. Monsieur. Okay. So if I said that's 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to double that. And that's going to be my 1/4 inch or my bâtonnet. Okay. Keeping it nice and straight, I create my planks, my 1/4 inch, my 1/8 inch planks first, and then I create my 1/4 inch sticks. That's bâtonnet. Okay. From here, I can then make 1/4 inch cuts across those sticks, and I will have my macédoine, which means mixture, something like that. Okay. Or what we would call small dice. Okay. Now, I usually like to tell my students, if it's going to be small dice, you should be able to roll it in Vegas, right? And that's what we want it to look like. We don't want flat squares, because flat squares in our business are called paysan, spelled like the Italian paisan, but in French it says paysan. So if I say that's 1/8 of an inch, that's 1/4 of an inch, double that, we have 1/2 of an inch. And these are our French fry cuts, okay? In that case, and in this particular case, and our cuts really depend upon what we are using them for, okay? Stocks, soups, where I'm not going to see the vegetable, not that you don't really have to dice them up, but what that does do for us, or making sticks, is create consistency. I know that all my vegetable will cook over time around the same, because I'm cutting them roughly the same. If I'm just hacking and slashing at it, you know, this is not going to cook in the same amount of time, even as those big French fry or this. Okay. If I'm sauteing or searing, I'm not using something like this. I'm going to use my brunoise, my julienne. So depending upon how I'm cooking and what I'm cooking, depends upon the size to which I cut my veg. With me? Okay. Any questions yet so far. What have you? No? Let me get my mise en place done here. All right. Onion. Onions really depends on how you cut them, depends upon what you're using them for. Okay, so onions, like ogres, have plenty of layers. So we want to be, I'm done. We have a root end and we have a stem end. Okay, we're going to cut the stem end off. And in this case, I want to dice them. I'm sorry, I want to julienne them. So since I'm not worried about keeping them all together, if I was to dice this, I would keep the root end on, okay, and cut it in half. From there, peel the outer layer, and then try to get as much of that root off as I possibly can, because we want to keep the root end because it keeps all the layers together. So that way I can then make my cuts and then make my dice, okay? In that way, I want to keep them together so it's all nice and consistent and I have everything looking roughly the same. And I'm for soups, for dishes, I'm going to caramelize. I want the onion to fall apart. I'm not really worried too much about that. That's why I would keep the root end on for my dice. If I'm going to julienne or French the onion, I'm going to cut the root end off. Again, peel the outer skin off. Then I'm going to angle my knife, again, pinch grip on the knife, and I'm going to go around with the cell walls of the onion so that it keeps it intact. Okay? So as I go around, I'm just cutting and just moving my knife. And notice I move my knuckles. My thumb is still back here. And I just move my knuckles back because my knuckles are the guide. Never, ever will I ever show my fingertips to my knife, please. And I'm just angling until I'm pretty much vertical. Now that I'm vertical, I'm going to go across like so. Once I get to this end, I'm going to tip it over and finish those cuts. Okay? And that's what we want with our onion. I did a boo-boo. I did something I told you not to do. What did I do? I wrapped my fingers around and went like that. All right, peppers. Going to cut our end off. Going to cut the top off. And there's plenty of YouTubes and Instagrams and everything else out there showing you all sorts of different ways, etc. Just cut it open and then run your knife around. Get the pith and the seed and you're done. Okay? I don't find it that difficult. Knife's nice and sharp. It's not too bad. Okay? Then we're going to cut it again into handheld manageable pieces or sizes. We're going to be sure, let's flatten this out a bit, take some of that pith off of there. Now I'm coming into my hands. As I get closer, I'm exchanging where my hands are, okay? So that's what we have here. I cut flesh first. I don't generally, unless I'm using a serrated blade, like to use the outside part. Some people will say, no, you got to cut skin up. If you're going to do that, use a serrated blade. That's completely fine. That'll tear through. That'll cut through nicely. But you do not want a smooth, or you don't want your blade going across that. There could be a risk of movement of the blade. So go through the flesh and create your julienne or your bâtonnet that way. All right. Fennel, we're going to treat just like the onion. We're going to keep our strands, and we only want, for the entire salad, I really only need one bulb and like half of all the strands. The rest of the fennel that we have, we're going to need the rest of the other 3 or 4, what have you. You can just cut them off. So I'm just going to cut the strands off. Stalks, okay? This goes great. It has a nice light licoricey fennel flavor, okay? If you guys don't know fennel flavor, it's kind of licoricey. And it goes great in stock soups. I mean, this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tastes. Okay. I'm going to cut the bottoms off, cut it in half. You can quarter it if you wish to get the core out. Please make sure the core is cut out. Okay, it gets very, very chewy. Some people will steam this. Okay, they'll saute it off. It's quite nice. And all we're going to do from that point is then just give it a nice fine shred. Okay, fine shred, fine shred, not a fine shred. We're counting on the vinaigrette to break down that fennel a bit and make it nice and soft and wonderful. Keep a little bit of that crunch. That's too much crunch. Okay, just FYI, just so we're aware. Any questions so far? No? All right. It smells fantastic. And then finally, our herbs. Y'all, dude, we got herbs. All right. All right. Oh. Just come around it with your knife. The top part itself, for what we're doing for the salad, you're just going to keep the fronds together, cut off the dehydrated or brown ends, and we're just going to, again, give a nice thin shapes, okay? Because the stalk and the leaves add a nice little flavor structure to the fennel itself. We're going to take our leaves, we're going to stack them one on top of the other. This is called a chiffonade, in which we apply a julienne or a very fine cut to leaves, predominantly herbs. We're then going to give it a nice tight roll. We want to leave a little bit on the end so we can lick it. No? 1, 2, 3. Good thing they legalized it, huh? Anyway, so we're then going to, again, keep it nice and tight, keep our fingers close, bear claw it, and then give a nice fine shred, okay? And this is our chiffonade, right? We'll be using this for the spring rolls just like it is. Same thing with the onion and the peppers. The cucumber, they're English cucumbers. They don't have a lot of seeds. We don't have to worry too much about any microbes or disease-causing microorganisms or what have you in there, at least this year. So we're just going to cut, again, nice. We want to use up the whole cucumber. But again, nice and roly-poly. So we're going to flatten it. And then we're going to cut our 1/8-inch planks. That was off. Cucumbers are nice and wet. They will stick together. They won't move around too much. And then we're just going to cut our julienne like so. Okay? Now, there are people who use their knife as a scraper or as something to help pick up. If that's the case, try not to, first and foremost, scrape along the cutting board. You'll get that gunk on it or in your food. Secondly, use the back of your knife, and you can scrape all you want. Okay? Try not to until you are quite comfortable coming up underneath and using it. Get a bench scraper, use a proper scraper to pick those items up, or just pick them up with your hands. All right? So I need some people. It does say mango. We're going to throw mango into the citrus salad. Anybody not know how to peel or ripe or use a mango? We can hedgehog this. You guys know how to hedgehog a mango? No? All right. So from the stem to the dimple, that's where the seed is. You guys didn't know how to tell where the seed is? Okay, from the stem to the dimple. So we're just going to give it roughly about 1/8 of an inch from the stem. We're just going to give it a cut, just like so. We're going to use our knife. We're not going to hold it in our hand, avocado people. Onto the cutting board. And then we're just going to give it nice, wonderful cuts, crisscross, dice, what have you, and then turn it inside out. Okay? And then we can just peel them off, eat them that way. Finish off the seed, toss it to the dog or give it to the kids, whatever you wish. All right? Citrus. How do we section citrus? Using our paring knife, we're going to cut the end off. This is a Caracara orange, so it's sort of a light blood orange. It's not as dark. I wanted blood oranges, but I just could not find them. God, I've been to 3 stores, could not find them. So we're going to cut the ends off. We're going to take our paring knife, go across, and cut the pith off. If we wanted the zest, we can use our zester or peeler and take it off that way. Don't have to. If you wish to do that, you're more than welcome to. Go around the curvature of the citrus, lemon, lime, orange, grapefruit, pomelo, you name it. And just make sure all the pith is off. P-I-T-H, pith. Please do not report me. That is the part that makes your citrus bitter. Pomelos and grapefruit having the most bitter pith. Okay. Again, avocado people, do not put it in your hand and section it. Put it on the cutting board. We're going to make V cuts between the piths that are on there. Okay. So that's all we're going to do so that we have a nice, beautiful section of fruit. Okay. So again, and then once the next piece, we're going to go to this edge of the pith, hug that piece of pith there, fold it back, hold it back with your finger, what have you, and then you can just run along the next piece of pith. There's your section. And so on, and so on, and so on. Okay? Yes, most people like the grandma come up here and start doing this. Not until you're comfortable with the knife, okay? And considering the fact that avocado hands cases have risen, what, 225% in hospitals because everybody wants to, do the whole chef. Just chill out. Okay, we have everything there for our rolls once we get our mise en place or once we get our julienne done. We'll then start creating our spring rolls. So we have our carrots, peppers. We need the julienne, pass them down, pass them around. Cucumber, you can cut that in half, etc. I have the mise en place for our chung, and I need mint chiffonade. Please and thank you. On that end, I need our fennel cut up. There we go. You're quite welcome. Pass out the oranges, pass them down, pass them around. Who's your friend? Who's your pal? All right. There. Yep, big old grapefruit. So all the fennel, citrus, mango, etc., goes into the big bowl. Who wants this? Don't all jump at once. Fantastic. Thank you. The onion will go half into the salad and the other half into this. Yes, please. Okay. All right, let me give you this. I'm sorry, just as I showed you, use your paring knife, cut off the skin, take the sections out accordingly. All right. You guys are going to make vinaigrettes. We're going to take all of this, not the salt and pepper, but the lemon, all of these ingredients into this bowl. Yep. And give it a nice mixy. Yep. Hmm? Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry? Oh, Oh my God. Okay. I'll get you another. Actually, we have more pepper. Yeah, here. There we go. You can use that.
Juliet, correct?
Yes,
Where you can go back and forth where you
you should be able to do that with that one. If not, I got another one here. Go for it. You can use that. There you go. See? Use the diamond. That's fine. You pinch grip the knife. Right. Yep. Good. There you go. Good. Good. Knife. She needs a knife. She can use my knife. Please be careful. Excuse me. Ah. Let's make a switch. I'm taking away the better knife. I know. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes. Excuse me. There you go. I'm sorry. What do you need to see me do? Excuse me. Okay. At the ends. Feel it. Okay. Cut between the sections. Just like that. Cut between the pith. Okay.
Come right to the pit. We just
I kind of hug the pith. Okay. So we're just going to go around that. There we go. So we're going to fold that over, cut that pith off there. And right where that pith is, we're just going to hug that just like so. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
was like a very useful experience, and for others,
Excuse me.
100%.
You're quite all right.
I was, but then like I don't,
So let's keep everything nice and sectionalized, all of our pepper in one area. Okay. Carrots can go over here, go in the middle. Yep. Cucumber right next to it. This way. Yeah, you're going to really destroy because you peel the orange rather than cut the peel off. Okay, and that's why we need to cut the peel off so that this outer pith comes off with it. All right, so we're just going to have to. We're just going to have to put it in with some of the pith in there. They are mandarins. It's not that big of a deal. Please. Oh, sorry. Huh? Julienne. Yeah. The pepper seeds, tops, etc., can go in the garbage. Hey, I'm gonna need I need a volunteer to take the mango out and get it into the salad. Okay. You can cut the top and bottom off first. Okay. Then once the top and bottom are off, then we're going to take and well, the knife is not the sharpest, of course. So we're just going to run it along this outer part.
Okay.
Sectioning mandarins are a little bit of a pain in the butt. Okay.
So I was doing it, leaving too much, peeling it, leaving too much. Okay.
Just pull it off with your hands. No, or a spoon. Yeah, either way works. Okay, so it's not cooperating, so we're just going to peel them off now. Okay, let's get the citrus sections into the big bowl. Let's get the fennel into the big bowl, please. Right behind you. Behind you. Okay. So I need you to remove the skin off of those and mince that garlic up. You'd be so kind as to mince not the stem, but just the pepper seeds and all. Okay. You can throw all of that away once the sections are there. You can just mince that up and we can get this into this bowl. Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you to do it. I just saw it now, you know me.
Mhm. Let's go with another. Here. So your fingernail area should be holding on to the carrot itself so it doesn't move too much. And then pinch grip your knife, if I may. You're going to bring it right up to your knuckle. Move your knuckles forward. So you're just shaving. You see the other side of the knife. You're just shaving that end off and flattening it. So push it, bring your arm up,
Okay.
tip down,
Sure.
finish your cut. There you go. Now, pull it away. Now tip it over. Now it's not going to move on you. Do the same exact thing you did for this side. So you flatten it off to make your planks. You don't really want nails, but yes, you want that. Exactly.
Oh, so I've
Mm.
never been able to get that.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that that nail part is grabbing some of that so that you can then move the knuckle forward. Correct. Correct. Okay, so we have the dressing already made up. All right, excellent. Got all the fennel, all the citrus, wonderful. So, great. I want the garlic and the chili into this bowl, please. I thought I had another spoon. Let me grab another spoon. There they are. All right. You give that a nice mixy until the sugar is dissolved, please. I'm sorry? Yes. And then we're going to take the vinaigrette, get it into that salad, grab some gloves, put them on and give it a mix. All right. I have small and medium on that side, and I got large and extra large on that side, right up there.
Mm. Mhm.
Excuse me. Oh, excellent. Hey. Extra large is here. This is large. All right. Can I get that tray over here, please? Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. You could please put that over there for now. Excuse me.
across the field, across from my house.
Gotcha. You're like,
Yeah,
right there. Good call, right?
hop right on, there's on off ramp. Like in front of my neighbors, pretty much.
How long you cut this from your house?
Do we have any fish or shellfish allergies here? Okay, wonderful. Okay. So we've got our fennel shaved with our citrus with the vinaigrette nice and tossed. We have our nok chang there, our dipping sauce. Thai chilies with garlic minced with sugar, fish sauce, and water and lime juice. So we're just going to let that marinate and be wonderful. To make our spring rolls, we're going to have our shrimp side on this side for allergen reasons and our tofu side on this side. We're going to make sure we have gloves because if it goes from our hands to their mouth, there is a barrier. There is a very hot position between people in the food service industry as far as wearing gloves, not wearing gloves, etc. Health code requires gloves when it goes from hand to mouth. There must be a barrier, period, pure and simple. Be it tongs, that's a barrier. Be it a fork, what have you, that's fine. I hate seeing these videos and people, he's not wearing gloves when he's plating. Barrier, there's got to be a barrier, okay? You cannot have it go directly from your hands to their mouth, okay? So our rice paper, we have hot water here. Our water comes out uber hot, if not steamy. We're going to put it right into our water, get it nice and wet, and we're going to make sure that it gets to this point of becoming a skin, okay? Once it gets to that point, we can't necessarily slide it back and forth. So I'm going to need a person here basically just making wet noodles. If that's okay with you. Okay. Then the next person is going to then take a little bit, not a little bit. We're here to feed them, not fatten them. Each of us is going to get a tasting. It's roughly a third of a spring roll. So we're going to make sure that we put just a bit of lettuce, or I'm sorry, mesclun mix here. We're going to take a little bit of vermicelli, nice and easy. Go to the Asian store, go to any store really, get some vermicelli rice noodle, boil some water, throw it in 2 minutes later, ta-da. It's not hard. All right. We're going to hit it with some cucumber, with some veg, what have you. Our wonderful julienne I'm not calling anybody out, but you know. Just a sprig or two of our chiffonade of mint there. And then we're going to cut our pressed tofu, and I'll go over that in a second. But our pressed tofu, we're going to cut into sticks and just give about 2 or 3 sticks into the tofu itself. And we're just going to make a little burrito here, just a little wrap. So we're going to bring up the ends. There is some stretch, not much. So please be careful with it, just in case you guys can't see. Bring it around. Make sure the ends are wrapped up. There we go. Nice and tight. And give it your roll. All right. That's our tofu. We're just going to do the same thing with the shrimp. We're going to use about 2 to 3 pieces of shrimp. All righty. Okay, so if we get a couple volunteers in here, we can knock these spring rolls out quite nicely. The gloves, we have large and extra large on the wall over there, and we have small and medium on the wall over there. Now, if you guys, once they roll these, I'm going to need some people to cut these into thirds. So Alrighty. Somebody do that. Let's get the mint over here. Not too noodly. No. Decent pinch. Okay, excuse me. Oopsie. No, I just had an extra and I didn't feel like putting it where it belongs. Yes, sir. We can pull it closer this way. Okay. Will that work? There we go. Get this out of the way here. Sorry. The wrapped ones, the shrimp in this pan. The tofu over there, they're cutting them. I need somebody over on this side when the shrimp comes out to cut it into thirds. Yes. Take it. Put that. When it turns into almost the skin like you feel. That's the skin. Yep, that's perfect. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I was talking about the pressed tofu. Who here freezes their tofu and then thaws it? Only me, huh? Okay. It works wonderfully, especially when we need to press it to get the water out. Firm and extra firm do extraordinarily well, as opposed to 6 to 8 hours of pressing. You only have to do about a half hour to an hour. Freeze it, let it get completely frozen. You don't have to brick freeze it, but if you want to, that's fine. Thawing it out gets rid of all the extra water. So all you're left with is a nice tofu. Cut it into the pieces you want, massive amounts of paper towels around it, and put some weight on top, a couple cans, what have you. And just let it sit for about a half hour, 45 minutes. It works wonderfully when you freeze, then thaw. If not, if you have the tofu, it's going to take several hours of changing paper towels out, et cetera, just to get that consistency. For this tofu, all I've done is coat it in cornstarch. Okay, I like to fry it, if you guys couldn't tell, right? But you can bake it, lots and lots of pan spray, put it into the oven, bake off, et cetera. I know, I keep moving it and they keep moving it back. There we go. Salad greens are blocking the shot. There we go. All right. They're still kind of blocking the shot. All right, I'll just hold it here. Does that work? How about if we put the greens over here somewhere? That's all right. That's all right. Oh, completely understand. Completely understand. Right.
With the green.
Sure thing. Every time I move it, they move it back. Nobody. Yes, before. Then marinate. Yeah, exactly. It's like a sponge. Yeah. Great question. Thank you. Put them over there on the cutting board so they cut them into thirds. until it turns into a skin. So we're still firm, so we're going to keep it in there. The water's getting a little cold, so I'm going to get another pan so we can swap it out. Okay. Actually, we can do a bowl. Let's do a bowl. There you go. I've seen people use boiling water.
I just
Dip
can't.
it in 30 seconds out.
Ugh.
I like to have feeling in my fingers. So yeah, you can't really use a utensil or some sort of, you can't really use anything, it'll tear. So, you know, hands are it. Okay, so you can give me that water. No. We're going to use this piping hot water. No. We're going to swap the water out. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay, for everyone over here, if you could please scrape with the back of your knife, your cutting boards into the trash can, and then just stack up your cutting boards and knives, and we'll have someone come take our dirty dishes away for us. That I will go ahead and, oopsie. Trash can was here. Okay. Oh, somebody took the bag out. Hold on one sec. Musical interlude. Here we go.
Hey, how's it going, Janet?
Quite all right.
You know, I am glad it's
good.
Friday. I'm a little
All right.
worn out for the week.
Over it?
Little bit.
Just keep them on
but,
top of the
you
cutting board.
know, It's
You can stack the
Hold on.
cutting boards and just keep them on
Door.
top.
it's not bad. It's kind of almost.
Excuse me?
I think I'm just tired.
Quite all right.
Like I was.
For
more
those of us
over
over
it
here, if we
earlier in the
could
week, and things have kind of
scrape off
leveled
use the back
to
of the
some
knife, scrape off
degree,
the cutting
you
boards,
know,
stack up the cutting
There's
boards
still
with
a
the
ton of
knives
work to do, but
right
I'm
over
not
there.
as
We'll have somebody come over and clean this up.
verklempt about
Right?
it.
Get ourselves nice and straight. We
How are
have
things in the
Yep.
infusion clinic?
Always interesting. There's never a
Okay.
day that goes by that you're just not like, what?
I bet. What's the latest? Are you guys just constantly
so we roughly
overbooked
have,
and
let's get one more
understaffed?
done. We have like 5, 6
I
more
would
minutes. I want to
say
get you guys tasting, et cetera, et cetera.
90%
So,
of the time.
all right.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
That's
There we
so
are.
stressful.
I don't
That
think
can
people
go.
understand
This is
what a
here.
beast of an operation this is.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to get, 50 to
Excuse
60
me?
people in
Thank
and
you.
out, I mean, time matters, scheduling matters, everything matters. So, yeah, you got one sick call and you're thrown
There
off.
we go.
Yeah. That
We've had a couple
is.
days where we've had 2 sick calls, and that was like, oh my gosh.
How many nurses do you have working there?
Okay, so we can bring the tofu,
We
spring rolls
staff
over, the shrimp, spring rolls
generally,
over.
8 in the charge.
Please and thank you.
Anywhere
Hmm?
from 8 to 9 with the charge.
Okay.
And then depending on how the
Mhm.
days go, and what drugs you're giving, you can
We
have
have 20
days
people
where
here.
you're only seeing 45
1, 2, 3, 4,
patients,
5,
and
6,
it's
7, 8,
worse
9,
than
10, 11,
it's
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21.
Yeah, of
We've got plenty of
course.
tofu ones too.
Chemo regimens have gotten more
You can pull
complicated, so
the
somebody's
plastic up
getting
for me.
3, 4 different things in one sitting, where it used to be just
There we go.
a simpler routines.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be good.
Were you working there that frequently when Elena was still around?
Can you take that and throw it away for me? Thank you.
Yes, I've been
Right behind you.
working here pretty
Thank you.
much full time for a while.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
All right.
Yeah.
But first and
Yikes.
foremost, I
Well,
want to thank
that
you
is,
guys.
Is
Second
there
right over there.
someone that could
Can you
mute
all mute your
Truly
mic?
appreciate
It's
your
like
time and
that's the
energies
bane
with this
of
and
my
listening to my old
existence
butt
is working
talking about knives
in an
and knife
environment
skills.
where,
Any questions
um,
so far? Most of you got
sorry,
to
I've
do
been
things.
concurrently trying to be on this
What is the key
conference that
thing
I was supposed
behind
to
all of
be at
this?
in person, and of
You
course
learn
now
knife
I have to
skills. So
go
what do we do with
virtually.
that?
So making sure that my sound is off, that I'm not
Starts with a P, rhymes with
broadcasting
practice.
to a bigger group.
There we go. Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
We're going
always
to
my turn,
practice, right? So get some carrots, turnips, rutabagas. Okay. Practice on those hard root. Don't do potatoes. Stop. All right. Grab those hard root vegetables. Get that technique down. Get the muscle memory. Excuse me. Just like a golf swing, a tennis racket, hole, pickleball, whatever you're playing. The knife is the exact same way. I have no problems getting comfortable, getting the knife, what to do, but most people, when they get the knife in their hand, everything's angled and off. And if you don't like it, change it. It's going to take practice. All right. 30 years and I'm okay at it. All right. I don't have, when I was mise en placing and prepping vegetables, et cetera, in the hotels, I had a significant amount of practice going on and I was pretty darn good. Okay. But yeah, after a while, you do lose it. So please, you learned the cuts, what they look like. Please practice them. We have plates here, forks. Your salad, the shaved fennel with citrus, with our vinaigrette. The vinaigrette itself was easy. It was a 1-to-1 oil vinegar. Vinaigrettes can be 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 10-to-1, however you wish, how strong and potent you want and bitey you want your vinaigrette to be. Okay, we had a tablespoon of honey, tablespoon of Dijon. We had a tablespoon of white wine vinegar. And then we did 2 tablespoons, or yeah, roughly, of olive oil. That's all we really did. A little salt and pepper, mixy with the citrus, with the fennel and the onion and the mango. Turned out wonderfully. Our nongchang is very simple. 1 part fish sauce, 3 to 4 parts water, 1 garlic clove, 2 or 3 Thai chili. It gives you the bite instantly, but then everything settles down. It goes wonderfully with the spring rolls. We have our shrimp and our tofu spring rolls. And thanks for coming out. Thanks for doing everything. Please grab some, enjoy it, and hopefully see you at the next convention. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Please help us up. Go for it.